we evaluate that there are around 160,000 companies in Europe which are impacted by NIS2.
160,000 companies.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
Would you consider yourself as an expert, Alexis?
Honestly, no one can consider to be an expert on NIS2. There are fines, maximum of 10 million fines. So there are
10
fines.
million?
Yes. Yeah, you could be liable on that.
Personally liable?
Personally liable, absolutely.
What would you say is the number one challenge, at least that companies are facing, I will say?
The number one challenge is
I saw that you guys at Abilene are working a lot in NIS2. Would you consider yourself as an expert, Alexis?
I think, honestly, no one can consider to be an expert on NIS2.
No, really?
NIS2 is a complex topic, and you need to build a team for that. So yes, we are working and helping international European groups in complying with NIS2. And to do that, we have people in cybersecurity, we have people in third-party risk management, we have legal experts as well, so we built a team. You need various competencies. Now, can we say we're experts? We have experience in ISO 27001, which is very close to NIS2, of course. But honestly, we need a bit of time to see how it goes. We need to see how the frameworks are going to evolve, how the different laws in all the European countries are going to evolve, and also how the auditors are going to work and what they will expect from us.
Do you think, because my thought following this is that a lot of companies must be struggling with exactly what you're saying, like even if auditors are learning through the processes, I don't know, like if my friend had a company, what advice would you give my friend?
Yeah, well, the first advice I will tell him is go and check whether or not you are subject to the NIS2 laws.
No, clearly.
So, yeah, but it may seem obvious, but it's not that simple, actually. And, you know, there are websites on for every country where you can go and dig. Most of the countries have done it by now, where you can go and assess yourself to understand if you need to comply or not to NIS2. That's the number one thing.
That's a very interesting one. So they can actually go and check them by themselves if they need to comply with this.
Yeah, one of the best websites, at least for the Belgian law, for example, is the CCB website.
Okay.
They've made a comprehensive framework, a set of questions, helping you understand whether or not you need to comply, if you are what we call an essential entity or critical or an important entity in the country. So step one is find out where you are and what you need to comply with. Not all the countries in Europe are at the same level today, but they're slowly going into that direction. Okay,
so it's a must. We understand that it's a must. Because from my understanding, you have NIS1 and NIS2. Do you think it's very, very different, one to another?
Yeah, well, so NIS2 is an evolution from NIS1. And NIS1 was a first try to establish a form of standards for organization regarding how they manage their IT, network and infrastructure. That's what systems, that's what NIS means. But NIS2 made a big step in the direction which has been taken by other countries in the world. So the Europe decided to bring a level of controls to ensure that the most critical entities in the countries will be able to be resilient in case of cyber attacks. So more than NIS1, you need to understand and put in place a set of controls and processes in your organization in order to protect your organization from cyber attack and build resilience.
Do you have any numbers? How many companies are being affected? How many sectors?
Yeah, so today NIS2 applies to 15 sectors, okay?
15?
15, okay. Absolutely, 15. And we evaluate that there are around 160,000 companies in Europe which are impacted by NIS2.
160,000 companies,
yes,
wow.
Yes, it's quite a lot of work.
Okay, so...
And honestly, it's very challenging, for organizations.
Do you think they have the resources, the budgets? Because I guess this comes with complexity, so it's not only about the regulation, it's also all the effort to get there.
Yeah, it all depends where you stand. And the first step is always to do what we call a gap analysis, understanding what is the gap between where you stand and what you need to comply with. So, for example, if you already have an ISO 27001 certification, an information security management system, as it's called, you already have done a big step. If you're not there, Yes, it's
Call
going
us.
to require time. Well, no, practically, it's going to require time, resources, people, investment, probably as well in solutions, or other form of controls. It's a journey. You have to look at it this way. And today, the pressure is certainly there. The Europe clearly stated all the countries are releasing their laws. Some countries are already saying we will start auditing you in 26 or 27.
So it's now.
Yeah, it's now. You need to work on it now. Absolutely.
What would you say is the number one challenge, at least that from the scrap that we can say right now, is that fake companies are facing, I will say?
Well, I think the number one challenge is often in the end of priorities. Prioritization for management and management to understand what are the consequences. There are fines. The Europe gave us some numbers. There is like a maximum of 10 million fines. So there are
10
fines.
million?
Yes,
Wow,
it can go up to 10 millions. But it really depends on countries, and we do have a legal expert that can tell you that much more in detail that I can do. But apart from that, what you need to understand as well is that the people are liable. So if you're a CEO of an organization, you are liable. Actually, every C-level is liable if there is an incident.
Personally liable?
Personally liable, absolutely.
Wow.
And that's changed from country to country. So some have clearly already stated what can happen to you. Like you could be stopped from managing company ever. So if there is like a security incident, like data breach, and we know there have been a lot of data breaches,
yeah.
or an incident impacting the operation of your company, you could be liable on that.
So it's really an urgent call, actually.
It is an
especially
urgent
for
call.
if you don't want to be liable out of it.
And this is why, for me, the number one challenge is for management to understand what are the consequences and what they have to do, and start putting the priority on that. And of course, every company needs to be operational, needs to deliver, and that's the number one thing. But on the other side, being compliant, and we know it's not easy, is a requirement. And honestly, it's also to help organizations to be more resilient by themselves.
How can you help companies at this stage as Supplier Shield?
Well, as Supplier Shield, what we do, so in the Abilene group, Supplier Shield is part of the Abilene group, and in Abilene we certainly do a lot of implementation. We consult on the topic of cybersecurity, data protection, business continuity. So we are really at the heart of NIS2. Now, Supplier Shield is something dedicated towards third-party risk management, and third-party risk management is one of the key topics for NIS2, because it's about protecting the supply chain of a country, and including your own supply chain as a company. So what we do is we provide, of course, advisory help on strengthening the third-party risk management process. We also offer managed service. If you don't have the resource internally, you can outsource them to us, to Supplier Shield. And of course, we also offer a platform. And I believe we have quite a revolutionary platform in the way we approach it, because we really wanted to make it simple, easy for people. And depending on your size, you're a small organization, you can just go straight away and use the platform. If you're a bigger organization, you may need our help in terms of managed services, of consulting, and we're definitely here to help you.
Well, it sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thanks to you.